She'll never forget the moment she dropped that tray of champagne glasses and looked up to see him standing there, the man who vanished from her life 3 years ago, the man she tried so hard to forget. Ethan Calloway walked back into Simona's world like he owned it, all-expensive suit and rehearsed apologies, while she stood there in her housekeeping uniform, surrounded by shattered crystal and the wreckage of her carefully rebuilt life. He invited her to his charity gala, said he wanted a second chance, said he'd searched for her, said he loved her. But what he didn't know was that Simone had been keeping a secret so explosive it would bring his entire glittering world crashing down in front of hundreds of witnesses. Because when those ballroom doors opened and 2 little voices shouted, "Daddy," everything changed. Subscribe right now and tell us in the comments, have you ever kept a secret that changed everything? Because trust me, what happened next will leave you speechless. But the work mattered. The estate's events director had mentioned this morning that today's client was important, some real estate developer planning a massive charity gala. Everything needed to shine. She hummed under her breath, an old Aretha Franklin song her mother used to play. The tray of leftover champagne flutes from Saturday's wedding sat balanced on the ladder's top platform. She'd carry them down on her next trip. The ballroom doors opened. Simone glanced down reflexively. Marcus, the facilities manager, had entered with 2 men in suits that probably cost more than her monthly rent. She returned her attention to the chandelier, working faster. Important clients meant staying invisible, efficient. Then Marcus spoke. "The space seats 300 for dinner, but we can accommodate up to 500 for..." One of the men laughed at something his companion said. Simone knew that laugh, knew it the way she knew her own heartbeat. Her head snapped toward the sound. Ethan Calloway stood 50 feet below her, sunlight catching the gold in his brown hair. He wore a charcoal suit, hands in his pockets, head tilted as Marcus gestured toward the stage. Then he looked up. Their eyes met. The tray of champagne flutes slipped from Simone's grip. Crystal exploded across marble in a cascade of shattering glass. The sound ricocheted through the ballroom like gunfire. "Oh, God!" Marcus rushed forward. "I'm so sorry, gentlemen, Simone couldn't breathe, couldn't move. Ethan stared up at her with an expression she couldn't name. Shock, maybe, or something rawer. Grief. "Simone," his voice carried across the ballroom. Her legs unlocked. She descended the ladder rung by rung, each movement mechanical. Her uniform collar felt too tight. Marcus intercepted her at the bottom, voice low and furious. "What were you thinking? In front of clients? I'm sorry." The words came out strangled. "I'm so sorry." She dropped to her knees, hands shaking so violently she could barely grasp the glass shards. Blood welled from her palm, where a piece bit deep. Footsteps approached. Simone. Ethan's shoes entered her field of vision. Expensive leather, polished to a mirror shine. "Ethan, come on." A second man's voice, the business partner. "Let them handle it." Simone grabbed her cleaning caddy and fled. The staff bathroom lock clicked behind her with terrible finality. She pressed her back against the door, lungs heaving. 3 years. She'd built a life, scraped together rent, raised 2 children, survived on 4 hours of sleep and grocery store brand, everything. She'd made it work without him, and he walked back in like no time had passed. Her phone buzzed. "Renee, can you grab the twins by 6? Got called in for a double." Simone stared at the message, then at her reflection in the mirror, above the sink, eyes bloodshot, glass dust in her hair, blood dripping from her palm onto the tile. She couldn't fall apart. Liam and Layla needed her functional, present. Cold water stung the cut as she rinsed it. She wrapped paper towels around her hand, watching red bloom through white. Her breathing slowed, steadied. She had 2 more hours left in her shift. She'd finish them, go home, pretend this morning never happened. But when she pushed back into the corridor, her hands still trembled. He's here. Ethan is here. The rest of Monday dissolved into a haze of baseboard scrubbing and carpet vacuuming in the estate's administrative wing, far from the ballroom, far from wherever Ethan might still be. At noon, Simone retreated to her car instead of the break room. The sandwich Renee had packed sat untouched on the passenger seat. She stared at her phone screen, Liam and Layla from yesterday, faces dirt-streaked and delighted, bucket hats askew. Her thumb moved without permission to the locked folder, the one she'd password-protected and buried 3 albums deep. Ethan grinned up at her from 4 years ago, his arm around her shoulders, bonfire light turning his eyes amber. She'd taken the photo at Narragansett Beach, laughing at something ridiculous he'd said. She couldn't remember what anymore. Delete it, she'd told herself. Every month for 3 years. Delete it and move on. She never could. 4 years ago, the cafe had smelled like burnt espresso and cinnamon rolls. Simone had been wiping down tables between her afternoon classes, Introduction to Early Childhood Development and Developmental Psychology, when the lunch rush hit. He'd appeared at the counter daily for 2 weeks. Black coffee, exact change, soft, thank you. She'd noticed the way he never checked his phone while he waited, never treated her like furniture. That rainy October afternoon, every table was taken. He gestured to the empty chair across from him. Want to sit? You've been on your feet all day. 3 hours later, the rain had stopped, and her manager was glaring. Ethan had asked about her classes. Really? Asked, leaned forward, remembered details, asked follow-ups. He'd told her about the architecture of old New England mills. Eyes bright. He never mentioned money, never name-dropped. She'd felt seen, fully, completely seen. They'd been inseparable within a week. 10 months later, the lighthouse keeper's cottage at Beavertail glowed pink in the sunset. Ethan had spread a blanket on the rocks, brought wine and strawberries like some rom-com hero. I'm falling in love with you, he'd said it plainly. No games. She'd kissed him instead of answering, tasting salt air and certainty. Later, lying with her head on his chest, he'd murmured about the future. Vague, dreamy things, maybe a house with a porch, Sunday farmers markets. Then, my mother expects me to marry someone. Appropriate. His voice had gone tight. Simone had pulled back. He'd caught her face between his palms. I don't care what they expect. I want you. She'd believed him. 3 years ago, his apartment had been chaos. Ethan throwing clothes into a duffel, phone pressed to his ear, face drained of color. Massive stroke, they don't know if he'll... I have to go. I have to. Simone had grabbed his shaking hands. Breathe. Just breathe. He'd kissed her desperately at the door. I'll call as soon as I know anything. The text came an hour later. Family emergency. I'll call soon. I love you. Simone had waited and waited. His number went straight to voicemail by day 3. His office said he was on indefinite leave. She'd gone to his apartment, new tenants. By week 6, she'd known about the pregnancy. By week 8, she'd stopped calling. Simone closed the photo app and started the engine. Renee's driveway was empty when she pulled in at 6:15. Before she could unbuckle, her sister appeared at the window, knocking urgently. We need to talk. Twins are napping inside. Now. Simone's chest tightened. What happened? Renee handed her a cream-colored business card. Heavy stock, embossed lettering. Ethan Calloway, Calloway Properties. On the back, in handwriting she'd recognize anywhere. Simone, please. I need to talk to you. I'll be at the estate tomorrow at noon. E. Simone crumpled it. Absolutely not. Tuesday morning, 11:50 a.m. The silverware gleamed under the fluorescent kitchen lights, forks and knives lined up like soldiers. Simone's cloth moved in mechanical circles, but her eyes kept cutting to the wall clock. She wouldn't go. She'd stay right here, finish the silver service for 18, reorganize the linen closet, let him stand in that ballroom alone until he gave up and left. 11:58. The cloth stilled in her hand. She stood, legs moving before her brain caught up, and walked through the service corridor toward the ballroom. The door opened soundlessly. Ethan stood by the windows in charcoal wool, hands buried in his pockets, staring out at the Atlantic. Thinner than she remembered, new lines around his eyes. The floorboards creaked. He spun around. Relief broke across his face like sunrise. You came. Simone stayed near the door, arms crossed tight over her uniform. I'm working. You have 5 minutes. He moved toward her slowly, the way you'd approach something wild. My father's stroke was catastrophic. They didn't think he'd survive the first 72 hours. I lived at the hospital. I couldn't leave him. His voice roughened. My phone got destroyed in a car accident on the drive there. Everything was chaos. The business, the family. 2 months, Ethan. Her voice could have cut glass. You came back 2 months later. That's 60 days to send a letter, an email, something. When I got back, you were gone. His hands spread helplessly. Disconnected number. Your apartment was empty. The cafe said you'd quit. No forwarding address. I hired investigators. You could have tried harder. Each word landed like a blow. You had resources, money, connections. If you really wanted to find me, you would have. His face crumbled. I did want to. I never stopped, Simone. Every single day It doesn't matter now. She straightened. I have a life. I've moved on. Have you? His voice dropped. Because I haven't. The silence stretched thin enough to snap. The lie surfaced before she could stop it. I was pregnant, Ethan. All color drained from his face. She watched him stagger and panic seized her. I thought I was. False alarm. The words tumbled out too fast. But I was terrified, and you were gone, and I had no one. God, Simone. He looked shattered. If I'd known. But you didn't. Her throat closed. And now it's too late. Let me prove I'm staying. Desperation edged his voice. The gala. Saturday. Come, as my guest. One evening. If you still want me gone after, I'll respect it. She laughed, bitter and sharp. So your friends can stare at the help? No thanks. So I can show you I'm serious. He stepped closer. So you can see I'm not running anymore. Every instinct screamed to say no. Fine. Her voice sounded distant. One evening. Then you leave me alone. His exhale nearly buckled his knees. Thank you. Simone turned and walked out. The door clicked shut behind her. She pressed her back against the corridor wall, pulse hammering. Through the door, she heard him lean against something, a choked sound that might have been relief or grief. What did I just agree to? Tuesday afternoon, 3:30 p.m. The industrial dryers rumbled like distant thunder. Simone stood at the folding table between Jackie and Marcus, her hands moving through the rhythm of fitted sheets corner to corner. Smooth, fold. Extra security for Saturday. Marcus shook out a tablecloth. Must be some serious donors coming. Jackie nodded, her practiced fingers creasing pillowcases into perfect rectangles. I heard Mr. Calloway himself requested a last-minute +1 addition to the guest list. She smiled. Wonder who the lucky date is. Probably some model or socialite. Simone's hands moved faster, corner to corner, smooth, fold. You okay, honey? Jackie's eyes had sharpened with concern. Just tired. The smile felt like it might crack her face. The twins were up half the night. An hour later, Simone stood in the supply closet, counting napkins for Saturday's service. Voices drifted from the hallway, two of the event coordinators, Melissa and Christine. Did you hear Calloway invited one of the housekeepers to the gala? Melissa's voice carried that particular pitch of delighted scandal. Like, as an actual guest. You're kidding. Christine's heels stopped just outside the closet door. Which one? The black girl Simone, I think. Apparently they used to date or something. He probably feels guilty. You know, charity case. Laughter, bright and cutting. God, how humiliating for her. Can you imagine showing up where you work as someone's pity date? Their voices faded down the corridor. Simone stood perfectly still, a stack of linen napkins pressed against her chest. Heat crawled up her throat, burned behind her eyes. Charity, pity, humiliation. She finished her count mechanically, logged the inventory, clocked out at 5:47 p.m. Renee took one look at Simone's face when she arrived and steered her straight to the kitchen. Spill. The twins were building block towers in the living room, Layla narrating an elaborate story about princess castles. Simone watched them through the doorway, then told Renee everything. The gala invitation, the lie about the false pregnancy, the voices in the hallway. Screw those women. Renee's jaw set hard. You're going to that gala with your head high. Maybe they're right. Maybe it is charity. And you need to tell him about Liam and Layla. Simone's whole body went rigid. Absolutely not. He has a right to know. He lost that right when he disappeared. Her voice cracked. I tried to find him, Renee. I went to his office. They looked at me like I was crazy, like I was some obsessed. Simone. No, the word came out raw. I won't let him waltz back in and decide he wants to play daddy when it's convenient. Layla appeared in the doorway, her small face crumpling. She crossed the kitchen and climbed into Simone's lap, tiny hands patting her mother's cheeks. The fight drained out of the room. Renee's voice gentled. I just don't want you carrying this alone anymore. Late Tuesday night. The apartment was quiet except for the hum of the refrigerator. Simone sat on the edge of her bed, the photo in her hands. Ethan, laughing, his arm around her shoulders, her head tilted into the curve of his neck. The beach bonfire 4 years ago, before everything shattered. She'd shown this photo to the twins maybe 5 times. This is your daddy. He had to go away, but he loved you very much. Layla had kissed it once, left a smudgy lip print in the corner. Did you really try to find me? Her whisper filled the empty room. Or is this all just guilt? The photo offered nothing. She slid it back into the nightstand drawer, lay down, stared at the ceiling. Sleep didn't come. Wednesday morning, 6:45 a.m. Simone woke to Liam's face, hovering 2 inches from her own, his breath warm against her cheek. "Mama, I'm hungry," she groaned, her body heavy with exhaustion. 3 hours of sleep, maybe. The overheard conversation had replayed all-night charity thing, how humiliating, until her alarm became a mercy. She hauled herself upright and shuffled to the kitchen. Oatmeal, bananas sliced thin the way Layla liked them. Liam wanted his not mushy, so she left his firmer. Small victories. She moved through the morning routine on autopilot. Pull-ups changed, faces washed. Layla's hair twisted into 2 puffs while the girl squirmed and complained. Renee arrived at 8 sharp, still in her scrubs from the night shift. She took one look at Simone and frowned. "You look terrible." "Good morning to you too. I'm serious." Renee crouched to help Liam with his shoes. "When's the last time you slept?" Simone didn't answer. She kissed the twins goodbye, watched Renee buckle them into their car seats, and waved as they pulled away. Then she stood in the empty apartment, staring at the mess of breakfast dishes. She had the day off. Errands to run, bills to organize, and nothing to wear to a gala. An hour later, she sat in Renee's passenger seat, arms crossed. "I can't afford this. We're going to a consignment shop, not Bergdorf's." Renee turned into a strip mall. "And you're not backing out because of money." Non-negotiable. The shop smelled like lavender and mothballs. Racks of gowns lined the walls, sequined, beaded, some with tags still attached. Simone flipped through them mechanically. Too small, too expensive, too much. "Try this." Renee thrust a silver dress at her. "I'll look like a disco ball. You'll look gorgeous." She didn't. The silver washed her out. The next 3 dresses gaped at the waist or squeezed her chest. Simone's frustration mounted with each rejected option. Then her fingers caught on something soft, emerald green, floor-length, sleeveless, with a fitted bodice that flowed into a gentle skirt. She checked the tag. $80. Her stomach twisted. Too much. But she pulled it off the rack anyway. The dressing room mirror showed someone unfamiliar. The dress skimmed her curves, the green rich against her skin. She looked elegant, expensive, like she belonged, or like she was pretending to. Renee appeared behind her, eyes shining. "You look beautiful." Simone swallowed hard. "It's too much money. It's perfect. We're getting it." They added simple black heels from the discount store next door, and a small clutch Renee insisted on buying herself. Thursday morning arrived with the scent of lilies. Simone pushed through the service entrance at 8:30 to find the Rosewood estate transformed. Florists crowded the loading dock, hauling in arrangements taller than she was. White roses, hydrangeas, something purple she couldn't name. Inside, the ballroom gleamed. Tables stood in perfect rows, waiting for linens. Crystal chandeliers threw fractured light across the marble. She reported to the staff room. Marcus was already there, gulping coffee. "Gala prep," he muttered. "Means extra everything." Simone nodded. She'd been assigned bathrooms and side parlors deep cleaning before the weekend rush. Good. Physical work. Scrubbing tile grout didn't leave room for thinking about silver bracelets or lighthouse metaphors or men who remembered throwaway conversations from 3 years ago. She worked through the morning methodically. Baseboards, fixtures, mirrors polished until they disappeared. Every time she passed the ballroom, her chest tightened. She hadn't seen Ethan since Tuesday. Hadn't heard from him either. Maybe he'd reconsidered. Maybe the whole thing was a mistake. At 11, Patricia found her in the ladies' lounge. "Simone." "A word?" Her stomach dropped. Patricia's expression gave nothing away, professional, neutral, the kind of face that preceded termination. They stepped into the hallway. Patricia closed the door. "I need to give you a heads up. Mr. Calloway requested that you be given Saturday evening off, paid. He's also arranged for your name to be on the guest list." Heat flooded Simone's face. "He shouldn't have done that without asking me." Patricia's eyebrow lifted. "Well, he did. And frankly, it's causing some talk among the staff. People are curious." Curious. The word landed like a slap. Simone forced herself to meet Patricia's eyes. "I understand. I'll keep my head down." Something shifted in Patricia's expression, not quite sympathy, but close. "For what it's worth, Mr. Calloway's a good man. I've worked with him for years. If he's making this kind of effort, he means it." She left. Simone sank onto the velvet bench, hands trembling. The gossip was spreading. Tomorrow would be worse. Saturday. She couldn't think about Saturday. At 3:15, she clocked out and walked to her car. Unlocked, because she always forgot. She opened the door and froze. A small cream-colored box sat on the driver's seat. Her heart hammered. She glanced around the parking lot, empty except for a catering van. She picked up the box. Lightweight. She opened it. A silver bracelet lay against white tissue. Delicate chain, simple clasp. A tiny charm dangled from the center. A lighthouse, no bigger than her thumbnail. She unfolded the note tucked beneath. You told me once that lighthouses represent hope in the darkness. I'm holding on to that. See you Saturday. E. Her vision blurred. She remembered that night, their third date, maybe fourth. They'd driven to the coast, sat on the rocks while the beam swept overhead. She'd said something about lighthouses being stubborn, about refusing to give up even when the storm raged. He'd kissed her for the first time that night. She clasped the bracelet around her wrist with shaking fingers and sat in her car, crying quietly until her shift supervisor walked past, and she had to pull herself together. Friday bled into Saturday without Simone noticing the seam. She spent Friday at the playground with the twins, pushing swings until her arms ached. Liam wanted the slide. Layla wanted the monkey bars she couldn't quite reach. Simone lifted her daughter up again and again, letting the repetition drown out thoughts of emerald dresses and men who sent bracelets. By evening, her nerves had sharpened to glass. Renee arrived at 7 with a duffel bag and a determined expression. "Trial run," she announced, dropping the bag on Simone's bathroom counter. "We're not leaving anything to chance. The gala's tomorrow night, which is why we practice tonight." "Sit." Simone sat. Renee worked methodically, her nurse's hands steady. She twisted Simone's natural hair into an elegant updo, pinning it section by section. Foundation, subtle eyeshadow, a wine-dark lip. "Don't look yet," Renee commanded. When she finally stepped back, Simone turned to the mirror. A stranger stared back, cheekbones sculpted by shadow, eyes luminous, neck long and graceful. "I don't even recognize myself." Renee grinned. "That's the point. You're going to blow his mind." Simone touched her face, half expecting the illusion to smudge. As Renee packed up her brushes, Simone's throat tightened. "I lied to him." Renee's hands stilled. "About what?" When he asked if I'd moved on. "I told him I thought I was pregnant 3 years ago, but it was a false alarm." The words tumbled out. "I didn't tell him about Liam and Layla." Renee sat down on the toilet lid, heavily. "Why would you say that?" I panicked. I wasn't ready. Simone's voice cracked. "And now I don't know how to take it back." "Simone, I know it's bad, but I need to see if I can trust him first. If tomorrow goes well, I'll tell him. I promise." Renee's expression said she didn't believe in promises anymore, but she stood, pulled Simone into a hug. "Soon, better mean soon." "It will." After Renee left for her shift, Simone practiced walking in her heels. 3 laps around the apartment. She wobbled like a newborn deer. Sleep didn't come. Saturday morning arrived in shades of gold. Simone dressed the twins in their favorite outfits, Liam's dinosaur shirt, Layla's pink overalls. They bounced with excitement. Movie night at Aunt Renee's. Popcorn. No bedtime. At Renee's door, Layla threw her arms around Simone's neck. "You look pretty, Mama." Simone's eyes burned. "Thank you, baby." She kissed them both 3 times. 4. Renee finally pried them away. "Go, we'll be fine." Simone drove home with her hands locked on the wheel. 4 o'clock. She showered until the water ran cold, applied makeup with shaking hands, foundation, eyeshadow, the wine lip. The emerald dress slid over her skin like water. She clasped Ethan's bracelet around her wrist, the lighthouse charm cool against her pulse. The mirror showed someone she didn't know, beautiful, confident, terrified. Her phone buzzed. "A car will pick you up at 6:30. You're going to be stunning." E. An unknown number. He'd gotten it from staff records. The realization felt invasive and tender at once. She typed back, "See you soon." At 6:30, a black car glided to the curb. The driver, older, silver-haired, kind-faced, opened her door. "Miss Hartley, Mr. Calloway asked me to ensure you arrive comfortably." She slid into leather seats that smelled of money. The car pulled away. Her apartment building shrank in the rearview mirror, and she whispered to her reflection in the tinted window, "Please, let this be real." The car glided to a stop. Simone stared through tinted glass at the Rosewood estate, transformed beyond recognition. Thousands of white lights draped every column and archway. A red carpet unfurled from the circular drive to the entrance, flanked by topiary shaped like swans. Guests moved in clusters of silk and diamonds, their laughter carrying over the sound of string music. The driver appeared at her door. Miss Hartley. She stepped out. The night air hit her face, cool and sharp. Heads turned. Whispers rippled outward like stones dropped in still water. She caught fragments. That's her, the housekeeper. What is she thinking? Near the valet stand, Marcus from housekeeping gave her a discreet thumbs up. Jackie stood beside him, beaming. But two event coordinators she recognized, the ones who'd laughed about her in the hallway, stared with unconcealed shock. Simone lifted her chin, smoothed her dress, walked forward, and then she saw him. Ethan stood at the top of the entrance steps, in a black tuxedo that fit him like a second skin. His hair was swept back, his jaw clean-shaven. But it was his expression that undid her raw relief, flooding his features, followed by something deeper. Ah, maybe. Or hunger. He descended the steps two at a time. "You're here," his voice shook, like he'd been holding his breath for hours. "I'm here." He offered his arm. She took it. His warmth bled through the fabric of his jacket. They walked inside together. The ballroom stole her breath. Towering arrangements of white roses and orchids anchored every table. Crystal chandeliers, ones she'd polished herself, cast fractured light across marble floors. A full orchestra played near the far wall, violins soaring over the hum of conversation. Champagne flowed from a fountain sculpted like a mermaid. She'd cleaned this room yesterday, scrubbed the floors on her knees. Now she walked through it on Ethan's arm, emerald silk whispering against her legs. Ethan introduced her to a cluster of business associates, men in tuxedos, women in jewel-toned gowns. His hand never left the small of her back, warm and proprietary. "Simone Hartley," he said each time, pride threading his voice. "My guest." Most were polite, curious, but polite. A developer from Boston shook her hand. An architect from Manhattan complimented her dress. Then Simone saw her. Diana Calloway held court near the bar in a gown of liquid silver, diamonds glittering at her throat. She turned as they approached, her gaze landing on Ethan first, maternal affection softening her features, then sliding to Simone. Her expression cooled. "Ethan, darling." She kissed his cheek, her perfume sharp and expensive. Then she turned to Simone with a smile that didn't reach her eyes. "And who is this?" Ethan's jaw tightened. "Mother, this is Simone Hartley." "Simone, my mother." "Diana Calloway." Diana's gaze traveled from Simone's updo to her borrowed heels, cataloguing every detail. "Hartley, that name sounds familiar." Her tone was silk over steel. "Do you work here, dear?" Simone felt the trap spring shut, but she wouldn't flinch. "I do, yes. I'm on the housekeeping staff." Diana's smile sharpened. "How? Industrious. And you're attending as a guest this evening? How unusual." Ethan's voice cut through the air. "Simone is my guest, Mother, and I'd appreciate it if you treated her with respect." Diana blinked, surprise flickering across her face. "Of course, darling. I didn't mean to offend." She drifted toward another group, leaving the scent of her perfume behind. Simone's hands were shaking. Ethan turned to her, anguish carving lines around his mouth. "I'm sorry. She's protective of her son's reputation." Simone's voice was steady, even as her heart hammered. "I get it. You shouldn't have to." "Stop." She met his eyes. "I knew what I was walking into. I'm not fragile, Ethan." He searched her face. "You're the strongest person I've ever known." The ballroom noise faded. The music softened. It was just them, standing in a pocket of stillness. Then the orchestra shifted into a waltz. Ethan offered his hand. "Dance with me." Simone hesitated. She hadn't danced in years, hadn't let herself be held by anyone but her children, but something in his expression, hope, raw and unguarded, undid her. "Okay." He led her onto the floor. His hand settled at her waist, warm through silk. Her palm found his shoulder. They moved. She was clumsy at first, uncertain of the steps, but Ethan guided her with patience, his body a steady anchor. Around them, other couples swirled. Faces turned to watch. She didn't care anymore. In Ethan's arms, the world narrowed. His thumb traced small circles against her ribs. His eyes never left hers. For the first time in 3 years, she let herself feel hopeful. After the waltz, Ethan guided Simone through the French doors onto the terrace. Cool ocean air replaced the stuffy heat of the ballroom. She breathed it in salt and pine and freedom. Behind them, the orchestra played something soft and distant. Ahead, darkness stretched toward the Atlantic, waves crashing white against rocks below. Lanterns flickered along the stone balcony. Simone gripped the iron railing, steadying herself. Ethan stood beside her, close, not touching. "Thank you for coming tonight." His voice carried weight. "I know this wasn't easy." She turned, studied his profile in the golden light. "Why did you really invite me, Ethan? Was it guilt?" His jaw worked. "No, God, no." He faced her fully. "I invited you because I needed you to see I meant it, that I'm here, that I'm— 3 years is a long time to be here." He flinched. "Deserved that." "You're right." He dragged a hand through his hair, disheveling the careful styling. "Let me explain. All of it." She crossed her arms but didn't walk away. "My father's stroke left him in a vegetative state," Ethan began, words tumbling faster now. "One minute he was fine. The next, he couldn't speak, couldn't move. The doctors said he'd never recover. My mother fell apart. The business 40 years of work was collapsing. I was the only one who could step in." Simone's expression softened slightly. "I lived at that hospital for weeks, slept in a chair beside his bed. My phone was destroyed in the accident on the way there. I hit a guardrail, totaled the car. By the time I got a replacement, I'd lost everything. All my contacts, photos, everything." Her breath hitched. "When I finally came back 2 months later, you were gone. Disconnected number, empty apartment. The cafe said you'd quit, no forwarding information. I hired investigators, Simone. I checked hospitals, shelters. I called everyone we knew." His voice cracked. "I thought maybe you didn't want to be found, that I'd hurt you so badly you'd decided to erase me." "I didn't erase you." Her voice wavered. "I couldn't afford that apartment alone. Everything there reminded me of you. I was drowning. I moved in with Renee. Changed my number because debt collectors wouldn't stop calling." She paused, eyes shining. "I didn't know you were looking." Ethan turned fully toward her, eyes glistening in the lantern light. "Simone, I need you to know, I never stopped loving you. Not for a single day." Her breath caught. The confession she'd been carrying pressed against her ribs. Tell him, but fear wrapped around her throat. "I never stopped loving you either," she whispered instead. "But love wasn't enough before. How do I know it'll be enough now? Because I'm not leaving. Fierce, final, not again. Even if it takes years to earn your trust back, I'll wait." Silence stretched between them, heavy with 3 years of grief and longing. Simone opened her mouth. A loud laugh shattered the moment. Marshall appeared in the doorway, apologetic. "There you are. People are asking for you. Time for the speech." Ethan's shoulders sagged. He nodded, then turned back to Simone. "Will you stay, please?" She nodded. "I'll stay." He squeezed her hand, brief, electric, and disappeared inside. Simone remained frozen at the railing, alone now except for distant music and crashing waves. "I have to tell him," she whispered to the darkness. "Soon." But the fear didn't loosen its grip. Simone slipped back into the ballroom just as Ethan stepped onto the small stage at the far end, accepting a microphone from one of the event coordinators. The crowd shifted, champagne flutes lowering, conversations tapering to murmurs. She positioned herself near the back, half hidden behind a marble column. Ethan thanked the guests for attending, his voice smooth and assured. He mentioned the charity renovations for the children's wing at County General, and rattled off recent Callaway Properties developments with the ease of someone who'd given 100 identical speeches. The crowd nodded along, politely attentive. Then something changed. His shoulders dropped slightly, his grip on the microphone relaxed. He scanned the room until his gaze landed on her, and his expression cracked open. "Before we continue," he said, "I need to say something personal." The murmurs sharpened. Curiosity rippled through the ballroom. 3 years ago, I met someone who changed everything." His voice carried across the silence. "She saw me, not my last name, not the business, just me, and I fell completely in love with her." Simone's pulse hammered in her ears. "Circumstances tore us apart. I made mistakes I'll regret for the rest of my life. I let her slip away." He paused, eyes locked on hers. "But she's here tonight, and I need everyone in this room to know Simone Hartley is the most extraordinary person I've ever met. She's kind, resilient, stronger than anyone has a right to be. If I'm lucky enough to earn a second chance, I'll spend every day proving I deserve it. Applause erupted, polite, confused, laced with scandalized whispers. Simone's face burned, every head swiveled toward her. Diana Calloway stood frozen near the bar, champagne glass suspended mid-air, expression caught between horror and fury. Ethan stepped off the stage and cut through the crowd like it didn't exist. He stopped inches from her, close enough that she could see the vulnerability naked in his face. "I'm sorry if that was too much," he murmured. "I just needed them to know you're not some charity case. You're here because I love you." Her vision blurred. "You're insane." But she was smiling. "Probably." Marshall materialized beside them, grinning. "Well, that'll be trending by morning." Ethan ignored him entirely. "Can we go somewhere quieter? I want to hear everything your life now. What I missed." Simone nodded, throat too tight for words. While Ethan disappeared to handle the security issue, Simone drifted toward the bar. Her lips still tingled from the almost kiss, her heart still raced from his public declaration. She needed water, something to ground her. The bartender nodded acknowledgement, momentarily occupied with another order. Simone waited, fingers drumming against the polished mahogany. "Did you see Ethan Calloway's little speech?" "About the maid?" Simone's hand stilled. 3 women clustered near the bar's end, dripping in diamonds and designer gowns. They hadn't noticed her. One laughed, sharp and cruel. "It's so awkward. I mean, she's pretty, I guess. But does he think playing White Knight makes him look good?" Another leaned in conspiratorially. "I heard she used to date him, and he dumped her. Now he feels guilty because she's working here, so he's parading her around like some charity project. It's humiliating for her." The first woman's smile turned vicious. "Honestly, if I were her, I'd be mortified. Imagine showing up where you work as someone's pity date. She must be desperate." Blood roared in Simone's ears. "Walk away. Just walk away." Her feet refused. "Excuse me, ladies." The voice sliced through their laughter like a blade. Cold, lethal. The women spun, color drained from their faces. Ethan stood behind them, expression carved from ice. "I couldn't help but overhear your fascinating conversation." He stepped closer, each word precise. "Let me clarify a few things." The women shrank back. "Simone isn't here because I pity her. She's here because she's brilliant, compassionate, and has more integrity in her little finger than the 3 of you combined." His voice dropped lower, more dangerous. "As for her job, she works harder in a day than most people in this room work in a year. And if you have a problem with that, or with me choosing to celebrate her publicly, you're welcome to leave my event." They stammered apologies, words tripping over each other, before scattering like startled birds. Ethan turned to Simone. The ice melted instantly. "Are you okay?" She nodded, throat tight. "You didn't have to do that." "Yes, I did." His jaw flexed. "I won't let anyone disrespect you. Not here, not anywhere." Something shifted in her chest, cracked open, raw and tender. She reached for his hand. "Thank you." The garden air did nothing to calm her nerves. Simone stared at her phone. 3 texts from Renee, all within the last 10 minutes. Twins woke up. "They're fussy. Layla's asking for you." "I'm trying to calm them down. They want to see you. Should I just drive over? They could wave through a window or something." Her fingers trembled as she dialed. "Do not bring them here." Renee sounded frazzled, overwhelmed. I know. I just thought maybe if they saw you for a second, they'd settle down. I could park outside, they could blow you a kiss, and we'd leave. No one would even notice." "Renee, this is a terrible idea." "I know. I'm just Layla's crying, and I don't know what else to do. She saw the photo of Ethan earlier, and now she keeps saying, 'Daddy.' I think she thinks he's here." Simone's eyes closed. Everything was spiraling. "Just give me 20 minutes, okay? I'll wrap up here and come home." "Okay." "I'm sorry, Simone." "It's fine. Just keep them there." She hung up, pressed her palms against her face. "Find Ethan. Explain. Leave. Simple." Except Diana Calloway stepped into her path the moment she re-entered the building. Arms crossed, expression glacial. "We need to talk." Diana led her to a small parlor off the main hallway. Coats hung on racks. The room smelled of expensive perfume and mothballs. Once alone, Diana dropped all pretense. "I don't know what your game is, but I won't let you hurt my son." Simone's spine straightened. "I'm not playing a game. I love him. Do you? Or do you see a wealthy man willing to rescue you from your circumstances? The accusation burned. I didn't ask for any of this. He found me. And for the record, I was doing just fine on my own. Diana studied her, really studied her, surprise flickering across her features. The pushback had caught her off guard. Her voice softened, barely. Ethan has been through hell these past 3 years. Losing his father, running the company, and losing you nearly broke him. If you're serious about him, then stay. But if you're going to run again, do it now. Don't give him false hope. Simone held her gaze. I'm not running, but I do have complications. Things I haven't told him yet. Diana frowned. What kind of complications? The door burst open. Marshall stood there, face flushed, eyes wide. Simone, there's a situation. There are kids in the front lobby asking for you. Security doesn't know what to do. The floor dropped out from under her. No. No, no, no. Diana looked confused. Kids? Simone's voice barely emerged. Excuse me. She shoved past them both and ran. Simone's heels clicked frantically against marble as she burst through the double doors into the lobby. Her breath caught. Renee stood near the entrance, face stricken, gripping the hands of 2 pajama-clad toddlers clutching stuffed animals. A security guard hovered nearby, radio in hand. Lingering Gala guests clustered by the doors, phones already out, and Ethan. Across the lobby, just emerging from the ballroom corridor, puzzled, looking from the twins to Simone. He didn't understand yet. Simone rushed forward. What are you doing here? Renee's eyes brimmed. I'm so sorry. They wouldn't calm down. I thought if we just came for a second I didn't think. Mama. Liam broke free, running. Simone caught him, dropped to her knees to pull Layla close. It's okay, babies. Mama's here. Footsteps behind her. Simone? She turned slowly, arms full of children. Ethan stared. At her, at them, back to her. Confusion shifted to realization, then shock drained every drop of color from his face. Layla looked up. Her eyes went wide. She pointed. Daddy! The word ricocheted through the marble space. Simone's heart stopped. Liam wriggled free, toddling toward Ethan with recognition blazing across his small face. Daddy! The lobby exploded into whispers. Cameras lifted. Ethan dropped to one knee as the little boy approached, then stopped suddenly shy a foot away. Hi, buddy. Ethan's voice shattered on the second word. He looked up at Simone, devastation carved into every line of his face. Are they? She nodded. The ballroom doors opened. More guests poured through. Diana Calloway pushed to the front, froze. Marshall stood beside her, jaw hanging. Ethan rose slowly. Liam watched him with wide, curious eyes. Layla broke from Simone and ran, throwing herself against his leg. Daddy, you came back. He staggered, knelt again, touched her face with trembling fingers, then Liam's. His hands shook violently. He looked at Simone. Tears streamed down his face. Why didn't you tell me? Quiet. Broken. Simone wept. Because you left, and I didn't know if you'd come back. Silence pressed down. Even the twins went still, sensing something monumental. Ethan stood. Liam and Layla clung to his legs. He walked towards Simone. She braced for anger. Instead, he pulled her into his arms. Her and the twins. All of them. He sobbed into her hair. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. The lobby dissolved into controlled chaos. Marshall barked orders, herding stunned guests toward the exits. Security ushered people out with firm politeness. Diana stood motionless near the coat check, staring at the twins at Layla's eyes. Ethan's eyes, staring back. Ethan finally released Simone, dragging his palms across his wet face. He crouched before the twins. Layla still gripped his hand. Liam pressed against Simone's leg, solemn and watchful. We need to talk. Ethan's voice scraped raw. Simone nodded. I know. Ethan caught Marshall's sleeve. Clear the venue. End it early. Marshall didn't hesitate. Done. Ethan led them through the emptying ballroom. Simone carrying Liam, Renee holding Layla's hand, Diana trailing like a ghost. The study door closed behind them, muffling the distant hum of departing cars. Layla rubbed her eyes. Liam yawned against Simone's shoulder. Renee stepped forward. I can take them to the car. They stay. Simone's tone left no room. Ethan sank onto the couch, head in his hands. Tell me everything. So she did. 2 months after he vanished, she'd bought the pregnancy test, called his office disconnected, Visited his building new tenants. Searched online, nothing. She moved in with Renee, worked through morning sickness at the cafe, gave birth in a hospital room with only her sister beside her. I named them Liam and Layla. Her voice fractured. I kept one photo, showed it to them sometimes, told them their daddy had to go away but loved them very much. Ethan's shoulders shook. I wanted to tell you, but I was terrified. What if you didn't believe me? What if you tried to take them? What if you ran again? I would never. He stopped. The promise died unspoken. He had left, intentions irrelevant. He looked at the twins. How old? 3, 4, in February. The math hit him visibly. I missed everything. I'm sorry. Simone's whisper barely carried. I didn't know what else to do. Diana's voice cracked the silence. May I hold them? Simone hesitated, nodded. Layla, fearless, walked over. Who are you? Diana dropped to her knees, tears spilling. I'm your grandmother. She pulled Layla close. The child allowed it, curious. You look just like your father when he was little. Liam, emboldened, joined them. Diana wrapped both in her arms, something ancient and wounded, breaking open across her face. She looked at Simone. I'm sorry. For tonight. I didn't know. It's okay. Ethan stood abruptly, walked outside. Simone followed, leaving Renee and Diana with the children. On the terrace, Ethan gripped the railing. I don't know what to do. You can't fix it, Simone said. We can only move forward. He turned. I want to be their father. Please. I know. I want that too. She met his eyes. But it'll take time. They don't know you, and I need to know you won't disappear again. I won't. I swear. He took her hands. I love you. I love them. Whatever it takes. Simone searched his face and saw truth. Okay, she whispered. We'll figure it out. The grandfather clock in the corner chimed midnight. Outside the study windows, the estate lay dark and silent. Inside, the twins slept in a tangle of limbs on the leather couch. Layla's hand curled around Liam's. Renee dozed in the wing-back chair, head tilted at an uncomfortable angle. Diana perched on the edge of the ottoman, unable to look away from her grandchildren. Simone sat on the floor, back against the couch. Ethan folded himself down beside her, careful not to jostle the cushions. Tomorrow, he said quietly. Can I see them tomorrow? She pulled her knees up, wrapped her arms around them. Afternoon, after their nap. What time? 3. He nodded, committing it to memory. And money, rent, daycare, whatever they need. Ethan, please. His jaw worked. 3 years, Simone. 3 years I should have been helping. Let me do this. Pride warred with exhaustion across her face. Rent and daycare. Nothing else. I don't want their lives upended overnight. They need stability. I understand. Diana's voice cut soft through the dim room. May I visit as well? Simone turned, studied the older woman. Diana's mascara had smudged beneath her eyes. Her elegant composure had cracked wide open. Yes, Simone said, but not tomorrow. Give us a few days. Diana's shoulders sagged with relief. Thank you. Her voice fractured. Thank you. At 1 a.m., Renee stirred, blinking groggily. We should get them home. The drive to the car was surreal, staff still breaking down tables, security doing final sweeps. Ethan carried Liam while Simone held Layla. Renee's sedan waited under the portico, car seats already installed. Ethan fumbled with the buckles, fingers clumsy with wonder and terror. Liam stayed limp, dead asleep. Layla's eyes fluttered open as he clicked the chest clip. She smiled. Night-night, Daddy. His throat closed. Good night. Sweetheart. He shut the door with shaking hands. Simone stood by the passenger side, swaying with fatigue. He crossed to her. Thank you, he said, for giving me a chance. She nodded, words beyond her. We'll see you tomorrow. The taillights faded down the tree-lined drive. Ethan remained rooted to the pavement until Marshall materialized beside him. You okay, man? Ethan shook his head slowly. I'm a father. Yeah, you are. Marshall's hand landed heavy on his shoulder, then withdrew. The estate swallowed him back inside. Ethan walked through the dismantled ballroom chairs, stacked, flowers wilting, champagne glasses abandoned. He climbed onto the stage where hours ago he'd declared his love to a room full of strangers. His phone glowed. Simone had texted one photo, the twins asleep in their car seats, faces peaceful in the passing streetlights. His children. He set it as his wallpaper and whispered to the empty room, I won't let you down. Sunday light crept through the blinds of Simone's bedroom. She woke disoriented, her body aching like she'd run a marathon. The emerald dress hung on the closet door, a ghost of last night's chaos. The twins' voices filtered through the wall, bright, cheerful, oblivious. She dragged herself up and found them in their shared room, building something elaborate with blocks. Layla spotted her first. "Mama, we saw Daddy last night." The words hit like a physical blow. Real. "It all happened." "I know, baby. Is he coming today?" Layla's eyes were wide, hopeful. Simone's throat tightened. "Yes, this afternoon." Liam looked up from his blocks, serious. "Is he staying?" "We'll see, honey." She spent the morning in motion, tidying corners that didn't need tidying, wiping counters already clean. The apartment felt too small suddenly, too worn. Peeling paint near the window. That stain on the carpet she could never quite get out. Would Ethan see poverty or love when he walked in? Her phone buzzed. "Renee. How are you holding up?" "Fine," she lied. Another buzz. "Ethan. What time should I come? What do the twins like? Should I bring anything?" His earnestness cracked something in her chest. She typed, 2 p.m. They like dinosaurs and books. Just bring yourself. At 1:30, someone knocked. Simone froze mid-step. Too early. She wasn't ready. She opened the door. Ethan stood there with 2 enormous shopping bags, looking like a kid who'd raided a toy store. "I know you said just bring myself." "Ethan." But I couldn't help it. Dinosaurs, picture books, art supplies, stuffed animals in improbable colors. Simone wanted to be angry. This was exactly what she'd feared. Money, solving things, changing things. But Ethan looked so nervous, so desperate to get it right, that her defenses crumbled. "You didn't have to do this." "I wanted to." He met her eyes. "I've missed 3 birthdays, 3 Christmases. Let me do this. Please." She stepped aside. The twins erupted when they saw him. Layla launched herself at his legs. Liam hung back, watching. Ethan knelt on her worn carpet, surrounded by children and toys, looking more overwhelmed than he had commanding a ballroom of hundreds. "I brought some things," he said carefully. "If that's okay with your mum." Layla was already digging through the bags. Simone made coffee she didn't want, hands shaking, watching through the kitchen doorway. Ethan sat cross-legged, helping build a block tower. Layla narrated everything, showing him her stuffed rabbit, explaining the rules of a game only she understood. Liam stayed quiet, studying this stranger who looked like the photograph. Then, voice small, "Are you gonna leave again?" The room went still. Ethan's face drained. He shifted to face Liam fully, eye level. "No, buddy. I'm not leaving. I promise." Liam searched his face, the same serious, assessing look Simone wore when making decisions. Finally, he nodded. "Okay." He returned to his blocks. Simone pressed her palm against the counter, fighting tears. Monday morning arrived too soon. Simone dragged herself through the Rosewood Estates service entrance at 7 sharp, her body protesting every step. The venue looked like a disaster zone, abandoned champagne flutes, wilted centerpieces, confetti ground into carpet. Jackie intercepted her before she'd even clocked in. "Girl!" Jackie blocked the hallway, eyes sparkling with barely contained curiosity. "Is it true? Do you have kids with Ethan Calloway?" Simone's stomach dropped. She should have known this was coming. Half the county had probably seen whatever video got posted online, the twins shouting, "Daddy!" the lobby meltdown, everything. Yes. Jackie's jaw fell open. And he didn't know? Until Saturday. Not until Saturday. Jesus. Jackie shook her head, whistling low. "What happens now?" Simone grabbed her cleaning cart, suddenly desperate to be moving, doing something with her hands. "We figure it out." The week unfolded in fragments, each day stitching them tighter together. Tuesday evening, Ethan showed up with Chinese takeout, no fancy catering, just cartons from the place near her apartment. They ate at her cramped kitchen table, the twins smearing fried rice across their faces. Liam let Ethan read him a bedtime story, stumbling over words about a hungry caterpillar. Simone watched from the doorway, throat tight. Wednesday, her phone buzzed during her lunch break. "Can I pick them up from daycare?" Her finger hovered over the screen. "Too fast. This is too fast." She typed back, "Okay." He arrived at Little Sprouts with car seats already installed, top-rated models he'd researched obsessively. The staff stared but said nothing. He took the twins to the park, sent photos. Layla mid-swing, hair flying. Liam clutching a pinecone like treasure. Thursday brought Diana, arriving with gifts wrapped in tasteful paper art supplies, wooden puzzles, nothing gaudy. She sat cross-legged on Simone's threadbare carpet, letting Layla pour invisible tea into plastic cups. "I was wrong about you." Diana's voice carried weight. "My son is lucky to have you." Friday, Ethan suggested dinner out, a family outing. Simone vetoed his first 3 restaurant suggestions, landing them at a diner with cracked vinyl booths and bottomless coffee. The twins were chaos, knocking over water glasses and demanding extra fries. Ethan looked utterly charmed. Saturday was the aquarium. Liam pressed his face against the shark tank until his breath fogged the glass. Layla refused to walk, making Ethan carry her through every exhibit until she fell asleep on his shoulder, drooling on his expensive jacket. Simone watched them together and felt something shift, terror melting into tentative hope. Sunday evening, the twins finally asleep. They collapsed on her couch. This week was, Ethan trailed off. "A lot," Simone finished. "But good, really good." He took her hand, thumb tracing circles on her palm. "I know we're taking this slow, but I need you to know, I'm all in. With you, with them. I'm not going anywhere." Simone squeezed back. "I'm starting to believe that." He leaned in. She didn't pull away. The kiss was soft, tentative, 3 years of longing compressed into one breath. When they broke apart, she whispered, "Stay tonight. Just stay." He slept on the couch, blanket tucked around him, close enough to hear if anyone needed him. Monday morning, 2 weeks after the gala, Simone was scrubbing baseboards in the estate's west parlor when her radio crackled. "Simone, come to the main office. Patricia needs you." Her stomach twisted. The radio's static felt ominous. She found Patricia behind her desk, expression carefully neutral. "Professional, close the door. We need to talk about your situation." Simone sat, hands clenched in her lap. Patricia pulled off her reading glasses, rubbed the bridge of her nose. "Some donors and board members are uncomfortable with the publicity from the Gala incident. There's been chatter about your relationship with Ethan, creating a conflict of interest. Callaway Properties is a major client here." The words landed like punches. "I'm not firing you," Patricia continued quickly. "But I need to move you to a different property in our portfolio, the Hartford location. You'd start next month. Hartford, 40 minutes away. Farther from the twins' daycare, from Renee, from everything. Can I think about it?" Patricia's expression softened. "You have a week." Simone told Ethan that evening, while the twins built towers with the blocks he'd brought. His face went dark. "This is because of me, because of us. I'll talk to them." "No," her voice cut sharp. "You'll make it worse. I need to handle this myself. Simone, I can fix this." "With what? Money? Threats to pull your business?" She stood, arms crossed. "I'm not your charity project, Ethan. I'm not some damsel you need to rescue." "I know that." "Do you? Because it feels like you think your money can solve everything." Frustration cracked through his carefully controlled expression. "I'm just trying to help. I've missed 3 years. Let me make up for it." "You can't buy back 3 years." The words exploded out of her. "And I don't need you to swoop in and save me. I've been fine on my own." Silence crashed between them. The twins had stopped playing, watching with wide, worried eyes. Ethan's jaw worked. Then his shoulders sagged. "You're right. I'm sorry." He grabbed his coat and left. That night, Simone tucked Liam into bed. He grabbed her hand. "Why was Daddy yelling?" Her heart cracked. "We weren't yelling, baby. Just disagreeing. Grown-ups do that sometimes." "Is he coming back?" "Yes, he'll be back." She kissed his forehead and prayed she was right. Later, her phone buzzed. "I'm sorry. I didn't mean to overstep. I just don't want you to suffer because of me. Can we talk tomorrow?" She stared at the screen, exhausted and scared and still angry. Finally, "Yes, tomorrow. You'd start next month." Simone's throat closed. She loved this job. The Hartford property was 40 minutes away, 40 minutes of extra gas she couldn't afford, 40 minutes less with her children every day. "Can I think about it?" Patricia's expression softened. "You have a week." That evening, Simone barely tasted dinner. The twins chattered around her, oblivious. She pushed spaghetti around her plate. When Ethan arrived at 6:30 for his usual visit, he knew immediately something was wrong. "What happened?" she told him. Watched his face darken with each word. "This is because of me, because of us. I'll talk to them." "No." The word came sharp. "You'll make it worse. I need to handle this myself. Ethan stood, pacing her tiny living room. Handle what? Discrimination? They're punishing you for my mistake. It's not discrimination. It's complicated. Simone's voice rose. And I don't need you charging in like what? Like you think your money can solve everything. I'm trying to help. I don't need your help. She was on her feet now, trembling. I'm not your charity project, Ethan. I'm not some damsel you need to rescue. I know that. His hands cut the air, frustrated. But I've missed 3 years, let me make up for it. You can't buy back 3 years. The words tore out of her. And I don't need you to swoop in and save me. I've been fine on my own. The silence crashed between them. Ethan's face drained of color. You're right. I'm sorry. He grabbed his jacket, headed for the door. Simone wanted to call him back. Her throat wouldn't work. The door clicked shut. In their room, Liam called out, Mama? Why was Daddy yelling? Simone pressed her palms against her eyes, breathed. We weren't yelling, baby. We were just disagreeing. Grown-ups do that sometimes. She tucked them in, kissed their foreheads. Liam's question lingered. Is he coming back? Yes, he'll be back. She prayed she was right. Later, alone on the couch, her phone lit up. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to overstep. I just don't want you to suffer because of me. Can we talk tomorrow? Her fingers hovered over the keyboard. Yes, tomorrow. She stared at the screen until it went dark. 3 weeks had passed since Patricia's ultimatum. Simone pulled into the parking lot of the Hartford property, a smaller estate, less prestige, better pay. The commute was manageable. She'd found a podcast about early childhood development that made the drive bearable. Inside, she texted Ethan, Made it. How were they this morning? His reply came instantly. Layla insisted on wearing her tutu over her pants. Liam ate half a waffle. We survived. She smiled. They'd survived a lot more than breakfast. That afternoon, Ethan stood outside Little Sprout's daycare, waiting. The door opened, and Layla launched herself at his legs. Daddy, I made you a picture. He scooped her up. Let me see. She thrust forward a paper covered in purple scribbles. It's us, at the park. It's beautiful. He kissed her forehead. Where's your brother? Liam emerged, clutching his lunchbox, walking with careful steps. He reached for Ethan's free hand without a word. A mom Ethan didn't recognize approached, smiling. Your family is so sweet. The twins talk about you constantly. Ethan blinked. Your family. The words landed somewhere deep. Thank you, he managed. In the car, Layla chattered about circle time. Liam watched the passing trees. Ethan caught his eye in the rearview mirror. You okay, buddy? Liam nodded. When's Mama coming home? Soon. We'll have dinner together. That seemed to satisfy him. Friday evening, Ethan opened the door to his new house, a 4-bedroom colonial, nothing ostentatious, swing set in the backyard. Good school district. Simone stood in the doorway of the twins' room, arms crossed. 2 beds, dinosaur sheets, bookshelves already full. This is a lot, she said quietly. Ethan joined her. I want them to have a space here too. With both of us. She turned. Both of us? Eventually. If you want. He rubbed the back of his neck. I know I'm moving fast. Tell me if I'm... She kissed him. Brief. Grounding. 1 night a week. We'll try. Relief flooded his face. 1 night a week. That first sleepover, Simone paced her apartment. Her phone buzzed. A photo. Both twins asleep in Ethan's king bed, limbs sprawled, faces peaceful. They refused their room. Hope that's okay. She typed through tears. More than okay. 2 nights later, after bedtime stories and tucking in, Simone found Ethan on her couch. She sat beside him, close. Hi, she said. Hi. His hand found hers. She leaned in. The kiss was familiar and new, 3 years of absence collapsing into this moment. When she pulled back, her heart hammered. I'm ready, she whispered. For us, for real. His thumb traced her jaw. Are you sure? She nodded. I'm sure. He stood, pulling her with him. They moved to her bedroom, the old full-size bed with its worn comforter, the nightstand cluttered with hair ties and baby monitors. It was tender, emotional, healing. Afterward, she curled against his chest. Stay, always, he promised. Morning light woke him. Simone was still asleep, her breath warm against his shoulder. Giggles erupted from the next room. Ethan dressed quickly, slipped out. The twins were building a block tower in pajamas. Daddy, Layla tackled his ankles. Liam grinned. You stayed. I stayed. Simone appeared in the doorway, rumpled and smiling. Good morning. Best morning of my life, Ethan said. She joined them on the floor. Layla climbed into her lap. Liam leaned against Ethan's shoulder. 4 people, tangled together, laughing. This, Ethan thought, was everything. 1 month after the gala, Ethan sat across from Marshall at their favorite dive bar. He turned the small velvet box over in his hands. You're insane, Marshall said. It's been 4 weeks. 5, technically. That doesn't help your case. Marshall took a long pull of his beer. But you're doing it anyway. I am. Marshall studied him, then nodded. Then I'm happy for you, man. She's good for you. They all are. Diana wept when Ethan showed her the ring. Simple platinum band, single diamond. Nothing showy. It's perfect, she whispered. Your father would be so proud. Ethan's chest tightened. His father lay in a care facility upstate, eyes open but unseeing. He'd never meet his grandchildren as the man he'd been. Diana gripped his hand. You have my blessing. All of it. Renee cornered him at Simone's apartment the next day, while Simone was at work. Let me be very clear. She stood between him and the door, arms crossed. If you hurt her again, I won't. Let me finish. If you hurt her, if you disappear, if you make my sister doubt herself for 1 second, I will personally destroy you. I know people, hospital people. We know how to make things look like accidents. Ethan fought a smile. Understood. Her expression cracked. She pulled him into a fierce hug. Welcome to the family, you ridiculous man. Saturday afternoon, Ethan took the twins to the park. Just them. Layla climbed the jungle gym while Liam inspected rocks. Ethan sat on a bench, nerves jangling. Hey, guys, come here a second. They scrambled over. Layla plopped into his lap. Liam leaned against his knee. I need to ask you something important. How would you feel if I asked Mummy to marry me, so we could all be together? All the time? Layla bounced. Yes, 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 yes. Marry Mummy. Liam's face was serious. Would you be our daddy forever? Ethan's throat closed. He knelt, eye level with his son. Forever and ever. I promise. Liam considered this with 3-year-old gravity. Then he threw his arms around Ethan's neck. Okay. The ring lived in Ethan's pocket for 2 days while he planned. Nothing elaborate. No restaurant, no crowd. Just them. Friday night, he cooked at his house spaghetti, the only thing he could make without burning. The twins arrived with Simone, who laughed at his sauce-splattered shirt. You're a disaster. A lovable disaster. Dinner was chaos. Layla wore more marinara than she ate. Liam built a noodle tower. Simone's eyes shone with happiness. After, while the twins played, Ethan took Simone's hand. Come outside for a second. The porch faced west. Sunset bled orange across the sky. Simone. His voice shook. I know it's only been a month. I know we're still figuring things out. He pulled out the box. Her hands flew to her mouth. But I've never been more sure of anything than I am of us. Of this family. He opened it. I don't need a long engagement. I don't need a big wedding. I just need you. Will you marry me? Tears spilled down her cheeks. Ethan, Old fear flickered. What if we mess this up? Then we'll fix it. Together. She looked at the ring. At him. At the window where their children's laughter spilled out. She wasn't afraid anymore. Yes. 3 months after the gala, Simone stood at the base of the lighthouse where Ethan had once told her he loved her. The ocean crashed against the rocks below. Renee fussed with her veil, simple tulle, nothing elaborate. You look beautiful, Renee whispered. Simone smoothed the skirt of her white dress. Not a gown, just a dress, clean lines, cap sleeves, fitted waist. She'd found it at a boutique downtown for $200 and felt like herself in it. I can't believe I'm doing this. Believe it. Renee squeezed her hand. You deserve this. Ethan waited at the top of the lighthouse stairs, Marshall beside him. When Simone appeared, climbing toward him with the twins trailing behind. Layla scattering rose petals with intense concentration, Liam clutching the ring pillow. Ethan's eyes filled. She reached him, took his hands. The officiant, a friend of Marshall's, kind-faced and warm, began. When it came time for vows, Ethan's voice cracked. Simone, I promise to be the man you and Liam and Layla deserve. To show up every single day. To carry the weight with you. Not for you. To love you through every hard thing. Every beautiful thing. Every ordinary thing. Simone blinked back tears. Ethan, I promise to trust you, to let you in, even when I'm scared, to build this life with you, messy and imperfect, and ours." When the officiant pronounced them married, Layla shrieked, "They kissed!" Liam clapped, and the rings he'd been clutching slipped from the pillow, clattering down the stairs. Everyone laughed. The reception was held at a seafood restaurant overlooking the harbour. Lobster rolls, clam chowder, champagne in mismatched glasses. Diana sat with the twins, wiping her eyes every few minutes. Marshall stood to give a toast. "I've known Ethan 20 years, never seen him this happy." He raised his glass. "To family." Later, Diana approached Simone privately. "Thank you for giving him another chance, for letting me be part of their lives." Simone hugged her. "You're their grandmother. You'll always be part of this." Before the evening ended, the twins demanded to speak. They climbed onto chairs, wobbling. "We love Mommy and Daddy," Layla shouted. Liam added solemnly, "And Daddy's staying forever." Applause erupted. Simone buried her face in Ethan's shoulder, crying. That night, they returned home, their home now, all four of them. Simone had moved in last week, her belongings still in boxes stacked in the garage. They tucked the twins into bed together. Ethan read a story about children finding treasure. "We're the treasure, right?" Layla whispered. Ethan kissed her forehead. "The greatest treasure in the world." Afterward, Simone and Ethan collapsed on the couch, shoes kicked off, exhausted. "We did it," Simone murmured. "We're married." Ethan pulled her close. "Best decision I ever made." She rested her head on his chest, listening to his heartbeat. Steady, present. "I never thought I'd feel this safe again," she thought. "But here I am." 6 months after the wedding, Simone sat in a tiny chair across from Mrs. Patterson, the preschool teacher. Ethan was beside her, his jaw tight. The classroom smelled like crayons and applesauce. "Liam hit another child yesterday," Mrs. Patterson said. "This is the 3rd incident this month." Simone's stomach dropped. He's never been aggressive before. Sometimes big changes trigger behavioral shifts. New house? New family structure? Mrs. Patterson looked between them. "These transitions are hard for little ones." Ethan leaned forward. "What can we do?" That night, Simone curled on the couch, staring at nothing. "I moved too fast. I disrupted everything they knew." Ethan sat beside her. "We moved forward together, and we'll handle this together. What if I damaged him?" "You didn't." He took her hand. "But we need help figuring this out." They found Dr. Chen, a child psychologist who specialized in blended families. The first session was just Simone and Ethan. Dr. Chen asked pointed questions. How did they introduce the changes? How did Liam respond? What did he understand about his father's absence? "He's testing," Dr. Chen explained. "Testing whether Ethan's promise of forever is real. If he acts out, will Ethan leave?" Simone felt the words like a punch. The breakthrough came 2 weeks later. Liam had a meltdown over bedtime, throwing stuffed animals, screaming that he hated everyone. Simone reached for him, but Ethan gently stopped her. "Let me." He sat on the floor, cross-legged. Liam threw a block at him. Ethan didn't flinch. "I know you're scared," Ethan said quietly. "But I'm not leaving. Ever. Even when you're angry. Even when you mess up." Liam's face crumpled. He launched himself into Ethan's arms, sobbing. "Promise?" "I promise." Ethan held him, rocking slightly, until the tears stopped. Over the following weeks, Liam's hitting stopped. He started calling Ethan Dad instead of Daddy, a subtle shift that made Ethan's eyes glisten every time. Layla, meanwhile, was thriving, chattering non-stop, climbing into laps, dragging both parents to see her drawings. One Saturday morning, Simone woke to an empty bed. She followed laughter to the kitchen. Ethan stood at the stove, flipping pancakes. The twins were helping, Layla dumping chocolate chips everywhere, Liam stirring batter that slopped onto the counter. Flour dusted every surface. Ethan looked up, grinning. "Morning, Mrs. Calloway." Simone leaned against the doorframe, warmth flooding her chest. This was happiness. Messy, chaotic, imperfect, real. And theirs. 1 year after the gala, the same beach stretched before them, the place where everything began. Simone watched Liam and Layla crouch over a sandcastle, their serious faces bent in concentration. Ethan sat beside her on the blanket, his hand finding hers without looking. "Can't believe it's been a year," she murmured. "Best year of my life." She leaned into him. It wasn't perfect. They still argued over small things. still navigated rough patches, but they'd learned to talk through the hard moments, to choose each other, even when it wasn't easy. Layla shrieked as a wave destroyed half the sandcastle. Liam laughed and started rebuilding immediately, teaching his sister how to pack the sand tighter. Simone's chest tightened, watching them so different from the scared, fatherless children they'd been a year ago. Marshall asked if we're coming to his daughter's graduation next month. Ethan said, "Of course. The twins adore her." He grinned. "She said," Liam asked, "if she'd marry him when he grows up." Simone snorted. "He's 4. Already has good taste." Ethan kissed her temple. "How's the paper coming?" She groaned. Her online classes, early childhood development, had started 3 months ago. Between work, the twins, and studying, she barely slept. But Ethan handled bedtime routines on her late nights, quizzed her before exams, and celebrated every A like it was his own. "Almost done. Due tomorrow. You'll crush it." Diana appeared down the beach, waving. She'd started joining their Saturday outings, something unthinkable a year ago. She carried a cooler, sandwiches she'd made herself, another small miracle. "Grandma!" Layla abandoned the castle and sprinted toward her. Diana caught her, laughing. The transformation still stunned Simone sometimes. The icy matriarch had melted into someone warm, present. She volunteered at the library now, reading to kids every Tuesday. "Simone inspired me," she'd said once, eyes wet. Renee pulled up in her car, her new boyfriend Mark climbing out after her. The twins mobbed him. Immediately he'd promised to teach Liam how to throw a football. Simone watched her family spread across the sand, messy, loud, chaotic. Hers. As the sun dipped low, they packed up. Liam ran back to the water one last time, bare feet splashing through foam. Ethan followed. "Dad," Ethan knelt. "Yeah, buddy? Are you happy?" The question landed clean and direct. Ethan looked at the boy, his son, and felt the truth settle into his bones. "Happiest I've ever been." "Are you?" Liam nodded. "Yeah." They walked back together. Ethan lifted Liam onto his shoulders. Simone held Layla's sticky hand. The lighthouse rose in the distance, solid against the darkening sky. Simone squeezed Ethan's hand. "I love you. I love you too. Forever." This time, they both believed it.